Cool. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to be with you today as we explore one of the newest tools in Care Control Cloud, Supervisions. We know this has been one of the most requested features to bring into cloud, so I'm very happy to finally go through it with you. Today's session is for you, whether you're currently using Care Control Windows or just want to learn more about how to manage your supervisions in cloud, you're in the right place. Over the next 30 minutes we have with you today, we'll take you through a quick look at what you can do with this new tool, why it matters, how it helps you stay compliant while supporting your team and strengthening your service. And if you're new to joining our webinar series, this session is being recorded. Therefore, in the next couple of days, you will receive an email with a link to watch this session back, along with any questions you may have that you have asked today and links that will support you on your supervisions journey. Think of it as a recap email. On top of that, we will also host the recording of this session on our webinar hub. The link to this will also be in the email, so please keep an eye on your inbox to receive the following. So, without further ado, let's get into learning more about this highly requested feature. So what to expect in today's session? We'll be taking you through how supervisions have been made simple in cloud, along with the importance behind this tool. We'll also be hosting a live demonstration with Lizzie, and if we have time at the end, we'll be answering any questions that you may have. And please, during the session, if you do have any questions, just add them into the chat below and we'll get to them as fast as possible. As you know, supervisions focus on well-being, performance, development. They're essential for staff support and quality assurance. During these sessions, you might talk about how your team member is feeling both personally and professionally, how they're managing their role, what's going well, and any challenges they might be facing. It's also a chance to explore what additional support or training they might need and to identify any areas where you can help them grow and feel more confident. Ultimately, as you know, it's about creating space for open and honest conversation, covering everything that supports well-being and development. And in Care Control Cloud, we made it easier to record those conversations, track actions, and evidence effective supervision. You can also keep track of your supervisions easily within the HR app by looking at them via staff records or supervisions tab itself. However, having the supervisions linked to each staff record is a brilliant way to stay organized and keep track easily of supervisions for every team member. So supervisions aren't just good practice, they're a regulatory requirement. Regulators expect you to show that staff receive regular, structured supervisions where well-being, performance, and developments are discussed. But as you know, it's not just about a ticking compliance box. Supervisions play a huge role in maintaining the well-being of your care service as a whole, giving you a chance to really understand how your team members are feeling, what support they need, and how they're coping day to day. They help you maintain standards, support your staff, and drive continuous improvement across your service. And now in Care Control Cloud, you can that those happening, that they are effective, all while having a clear, connected picture of your team's well-being and development. But before we jump into the demo, I just want to talk to you about how supervisions fit within your wider care control system. Supervisions in cloud doesn't work in isolation. They're part of your HR area, designed to give you a complete view of each team member's well-being, performance, and development. Every supervision you record sits within the staff record, so you can easily see discussions, actions, and progress all in one place. These records also support audits, inspections, quality reviews, helping you evidence effective leadership and governance where you need it most. So, when you're using supervisions in Care Control Cloud, you're not just recording a meeting, you're strengthening your whole service, supporting your team at every step of the way. So, we discussed why supervisions matter, so it's now time to see them in action. We'll be joined by Lizzie, who will give you a live overview of how to manage your supervisions within Care Control Cloud. So, Lizzie, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Tiggy. I've just got a question. Somebody else asked if anybody's got any sound. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear. We seem to be having a bit of a sound issue. I could hear you fine, Tiggy.
Well, this session is being recorded, so at any point, if you feel like you've missed a key part, you will be able to look back, and I'll be able to send the link to you all.
I think it looks like most people can hear us anyway.
Okay,
So
amazing.
I will go ahead. I will share my screen with everybody. If you could just confirm, Tiggy, that you can see this.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so supervisions, how do we find the supervisions on the cloud? So supervisions, if you're on My Hub, all you'll need to go to is into your HR area. Like Tiggy said, supervisions are all kept under HR. At the top of your HR records, you have staff records, you've got attendance and holiday, and then you've got that all important supervisions tab. Okay, so this is where you're going to be building all of your supervisions, all of your actions. You can also see your supervision status from in here as well. Now, it's really quite simple. We're going to start with the supervision templates. Okay, and up in the top right hand corner, you've got here create a template. So I'm just going to mark in here very quickly supervision 25 is what I'm going to call this supervision. And then we can build our questions into our supervision. So I'm going to put in here, do you enjoy your job? Obviously, you can put however many questions in as you want to. We've got here whether the question is mandatory. So I'm just going to mark that yes, it is, and who that question is for. So is it for a staff member, or is it maybe for a supervisor to complete during the supervision as well? For this example, I'm just going to mark here that it is for a staff member. Now, the next section is the question type. Now, this is all around how you want your staff to answer this question. So do you want to have a drop-down box? You can create your own drop-down list for them to select from, whether you want to have a scoring system. For my example that I've put in here, I'm just going to mark that it's a yes or no question. We're going to save that information. Now, obviously, you can go in, you can add more questions, but I'm not going to sit here and bore you all with that. So I'm going to leave it to that at the moment. The next tab we're going to move across to is the supervision action templates. And in true Blue Peter style, I've actually created one earlier. So we are going to go into a actions 25. We can see here that it's a general action that needs to take place, okay? So this is all to do with reading a policy, and I've actually linked the policy that I have on my care control system to this action. You've also got the area to add a URL document ID as well. Okay, so this is all about an action a staff member has to complete or has to be able to read the policy or procedure as part of their supervision. Now, the next section, as we move across, is the supervision status. Now, I've got quite a few here because obviously this is our demonstration site, so we're demonstrating it all the time, but I'm going to create a new supervision today. From this page, you have got your overview. We can see all of the ones that are now out of date. We can see active, completed, and cancelled from here as well. Okay, but like I said, I'm going to come in and I'm going to create a new supervision. Now, instead of sending it to all my staff, which you can do, I'm going to select it, send it to just one staff member. So I'm going to send this supervision to Alicia. Obviously, you can select more than one. You can select all your staff. You've also got a drop-down box so you can select which staff types you want to send here. Now, we've got the start date as the 12th here, and the target date is the 3rd of the 12th. I am the supervisor that is going to be supervising this supervision, but over in my left hand side I've got my template, and in the drop down box I've got the template that I have just created. So I'm going to select supervision 2025, and for my action template I'm going to select actions 2025 as well. Now, the next section over here is about supervision being locked to the template. If this is marked as a no, it means that the supervisor can add extra questions to the supervision if they want to. I'm going to mark that as yes. And along here, we've got send messages. So each member of staff who's been sent a supervision will receive a text message, and the supervisor as well. And when I say text message, I mean care control notification. The supervisor will also receive a notification as well. Okay, so we're going to save that, and that's it. it's done. That is a supervision created. Now you can see up in the top corner here, it says for your information and it says, hi Lizzie, you are the supervisor. So I've received my message. What I'm going to do is I am just going to open up the Pocket device here. I am going to sign in as Alicia, who I've just set that supervision up for. You can see Alicia has received a message as well to say that she has been given a supervision that she needs to be completed by. It's also got the date of when it needs to be completed by and who her supervisor is. Now for Alicia, what Alicia needs to do is on the Pocket device, if she goes up to her initials up in the top right hand corner and goes into staff menu, under other options, you've got supervisions there. Okay, so Alicia can come into supervisions. She can create a password. So she can password protect her supervision. Okay, and then if Alicia clicks on the employee, we can see here, this is a supervision that I have just created and just added to the system. If we select view, we can see we've got one action that needs to be completed and we've got one question that needs to be completed. This is obviously because I'm creating this just as a quick demonstration. If you guys have added more actions or if you've added more questions, obviously there'll be more there for Alicia to complete. Now, if we select actions to be completed, okay, and select the option, down in the bottom left-hand corner, we've also got a link to the infection control policy that I've added to the system. I'm not going to click on it because I know it's locked, so I'm not even going to attempt to click on it. So Alicia can come in here, she can read her policy, she can read her procedure, she can add comment in here. Update that. Okay, we can update now where it says the status. Alicia can change that, say that she's completed it and she's read that. That's then updated. Okay, so we've now got a green tick next to the action. If we move down to the questions, okay, and select the question that we want to answer, we can see it needs to be completed. It's showing as an orange circle. If there's more questions on here that maybe the staff have started to complete, once they've completed a question, it will go to a green tick. So if they do need to come away for whatever reason and then come back to the supervisions later on, they will still be able to see how far they've got. All right. So if we go into this question here, do you enjoy your job? The question is at the top. We know it's a mandatory question. We can mark here that, yes, of course, Alicia loves her job. So we're going to mark yes there. Save that. Okay, so this has now been completed. So we're going to mark as complete and save. Oh, add a comment. Of course, we'll add a comment. I'm just putting here, I enjoy my job. There we go. Save that information. Now, coming back off of the Pocket device, if I pop back in here to my supervision status, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually search in here for Alicia. So obviously you've got your search feature up here that you can look for a staff member. Okay, so we've got Alicia. We can come in here, we can have a look. Now we can see that Alicia has completed this action. Okay, we can see when she completed it. Its overall is completed. All right, so at the top of the supervision, it's saying employee complete. Okay, we can go in, we can have a look at this as well. If we go to questions, okay, we can see the questions that Alicia's answered, the answer that's there as well. You can also go in and have a deeper look. We can see the employee comments as well. As a supervisor, we can come in and add a supervision or supervisor comment. So again, I'm just putting here, enjoys her job, valued member of staff. Save the comments. And then what we can also do is, because this has now been completed, we can change the status from employee complete to complete. That status, that supervision is now all complete. Okay. If we pop back and we have a look at the overview, we can see that this has all been completed. If we go back to Alicia's staff file, so if I go in here to Alicia, look at supervisions. Okay, we can see here the supervision that has been complete is now sat underneath Alicia's supervision status. Thanks, Tiggy.
Amazing. So if I just get back to sharing my screen. Amazing. Oh, there you go. Perfect. So hopefully you've now seen how simple it is to manage supervisions in Care Control Cloud, saving time, reducing paperwork, giving you the confidence for inspections. But now it is time for the Q&A session, or section, sorry, of the webinar. So please enter any questions that you may have into the chat if you haven't already, and we will start answering them. I have, again, Lizzie and Lorna here today to answer your questions, so please enter any in the chat if you haven't already.
Thank you. We do have a question around, can you print a template? You can print a completed supervision if you need to for staff members. That's absolutely fine. I don't know if you can actually print just a plain template out, Lorna. I'm not sure if you can help me with that. No, you can't. Lorna's lost her voice, everybody, so have we got any other questions? I think Lorna's been going through them as we've been going.
There are some in the Q&A section of as well.
Is your default template so there is no default template on Care Control. You can build and you can start your own. That's absolutely fine, but it's nice and easy to do. Does it work within the mobile app? So in the mobile app, you will need to go into the staff area to be able to complete the supervisions from there.
Just looking for any more. Will anyone who has access to HR section be able to access the supervisions? Jenna has asked.
Okay, so it all depends, Jenna, on the access that you've given them within your org management. Okay, if I just so within org management under HR, one of the options at the very bottom is supervisions. If that is ticked, then it will allow anybody with HR access to go in, create and build your supervisions. Okay, if they do not have that area ticked, then they will not have access to the supervision section. They can have access to the rest of the HR, but not the supervisions.
Dan has asked, is there a way we can conduct a staff survey easily?
I believe Lorna's answered that one.
Lorna has done one.
Yeah, currently, just so that everybody knows, currently no, but we are looking into doing this. Obviously, you can create surveys for friends and family. You can create surveys for visitors book. You can create surveys, quality assurance surveys for your residents or for your clients. Currently, we don't have the ability for staff, but it is something that has been raised.
Chris has asked, can we ask about appraisals and completing them?
Yeah, again, some people will do appraisals using the template for supervisions. So instead of calling it a supervision state, supervision 2025, you can call it appraisal. You can build your own areas into that template. That's what some of our clients do. For appraisals separately, we don't have an area for that at the moment.
Just keeping track of the questions. Across the Bay has asked, how do you make an action of concern moving forward and see any previous actions, please?
Okay, so on the devices, on the Pocket device, one of the options you've got on there is action. I did skip over it, but there is an action on there. So if a staff member is completing a supervision, they need to raise an action back. They can select the action. On the supervision on Care Control as well, when it gets sent back to you guys to be able to look at, you've got supervisions. I'm just trying to open my page here. Supervisions. One of the options on there is, I've closed it all down so I can't see it, is actions. So you can create further actions before you complete a supervision. That's fine.
Another question from Christy. She has asked, how do you foresee this working for organisations that only have ever completed face-to-face supervisions?
Okay, so you don't have to send them out to staff to be completed on the Pocket device. You do have settings. So if you would rather do face-to-face supervisions, that's absolutely fine. Just amend the settings in the setup of Care Control, and you'll be able to do them as face-to-face. So you'll still be able to build your questions. You'll be able to sit together. You'll be able to answer the questions together, and it won't go out via Pocket.
Amazing. Tina has asked, can you print the template?
So the completed templates, yes. So once a staff member has completed a supervision, yes, you can print that. Don't think you can print just the template with all the questions on. A blank one, I don't think you can
print. Jenna has asked, if a supervisor does not have access to supervision on HR, can they still complete them? I.e., we have seniors that complete these but could not have access to HR supervisions as there would be a manager supervisions on the system.
Ah, good question. Under the org management, you'd be able to set them just access to just supervision. I'm pretty sure, Lorna, if you're set as a supervisor, you'd only see your supervisor ones. Am I right in thinking that? I can't see Lorna. Is she nodding?
Yes.
She is nodding. She's nodding.
Just checking through the other questions. Again, just making sure, because Lorna, I know, has answered some of these already. Let's have a look. AlphaCare has said previous on Windows, it would never show previous actions. Has this been fixed now?
I believe it has, yes.
Again, for a lot of these questions, we will be including this in the recap email. So if you have any more questions, please put them in the chat now. And we normally provide a PDF document within the email, which showcases all the questions that have been asked today. So if you do forget and you think, oh, I needed to ask that, do not worry. You can also get in contact and we will be able to help. Is there any more questions from anyone? I'm just making sure that we have answered all of them. Let's have a look. If CQC asks us to see an overall supervision compliance percentage, can we pull that info off?
Sorry, Tiggy, say that one again.
If CQC asks us to see an overall supervision compliance percentage, can we pull that info off?
Let's have a look. Is this for the ones that have been completed?
Oh, I saw Lorna has replied saying you can use Margot AI to pull this information off.
Yeah, and you can also export to spreadsheets as well.
Amazing. So if no one else has asked any more questions, I'll just double check the Q&A section. You have answered those ones, that's absolutely fine. So if anyone has any more questions, please put them in the chat now. Otherwise, we can close this webinar a little bit earlier than expected. We hope you found this webinar beneficial and hopefully to understand our new tool of supervisions in cloud. But just to recap, this webinar is being recorded. You'll be provided with all the links that you are needed or that are needed for this session, including the link to this webinar, which will also be posted on the Webinar Hub in a few days. So please keep an eye on your inbox, your email inbox, where you will receive the recap email, again involving the link to this webinar, all of the questions that you have asked for today, and any links that we think that will support you. Since I see no questions added into the chat, I believe that is everything. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Lorna, for both answering all the questions today. I really appreciate that. And thank you to everyone continuing to join our webinar sessions. We really do appreciate it. And thank you so much. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you.